Welcome back F11 members to the Fundamentals of Post-Production video tutorials for issue 74, March 2018. So here in the second video tutorial for this month, to accompany the workflow series on keywording your images, I'd like to now look through how we use Lightroom to manage our photo library, and in particular how you can search for pictures in your collection. Now, I've got open here on the screen our master library of images, tens of thousands of them. And of course, what's really important is that you need to be able to find the picture you need when you want it quickly without having to manually wade through folders going back through the years. And Lightroom is a really, really useful piece of software for doing this. We tend to focus very much in these video tutorials on the business of processing our images, but just as importantly for us anyways is how good Lightroom is for managing the library. So let's just show you how I use it. And of course, publishing this F11 photography magazine every month, we need to find pictures for different features. And so let's just go through how we can do that. So first thing I'm going to do is just hit the tab on my keyboard, because we don't need these side panels at the moment. We're just going to be using in the library module here. So I hit tab in Lightroom and that clears away those side panels. Now let's just say I wanted to do a feature and I needed to find pictures that I'd shot, for example, night shots of Paris in vertical mode. So the first thing I can do is just up here at the tab, the top of the screen, you'll see the library filters, and I've clicked on text here, and here comes up these boxes here which I can use to search the library with, and I've kept the text on any searchable field and contains all. And to tell you the truth, I never use any of the other options here. It's always any searchable field and contains all. And now I'm going to put in Paris, and pretty easily up comes all the images I've ever shot in Paris over the years. But I want to refine this search actually, because I've been to Paris many times. So I'm going to narrow the search down by asking for night shots of Paris. So I just put in the box there, night Paris, and up comes those images. Now that's great. That's really useful, but I want to refine the search still more. So I'm going to actually ask it to find only vertical images. So in this particular case now, I'm going to click here on the metadata box as well. And this brings up these options, which allow me to search for using information that is embedded in the camera's metadata. For example, the type of camera I used, the type of lens I used, or all sorts of other options, such as the date. But actually, I want to find vertical images. So if I just click over here, you'll see there are options here. If I click on the drop-down menu here and come down to aspect ratio, so click on that now, and I want to find portrait images. Portrait night shots of Paris, and there are my options. So I've narrowed the search down quite significantly, and I can still choose to do that more. Say for example I wanted to feature a particular camera, so I'm going to ask it for just shots using the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II. So there I've used Lightroom to search for vertical night shots of Paris shot with the Canon 1DX Mark II. And you can do all sorts of different combinations of metadata here, focal length, shutter speed, aperture. You can see all those options: location, province, copyright status, aspect ratio. This is such a useful aspect of Lightroom that we use all the time. So let's go through a few other examples here. Now I'm going to click on the library filter up here, click None, and it goes back to where we started. So let's invent another excuse. Okay, now this really does show the benefit of accurately captioning your pictures and keywording them, doesn't it? It really transforms the functionality of the library. So let's say, for example, I want to shoot, I'm doing an article and I want some kind of winter image. So the obvious thing I can do is put winter into the text search field, and up comes all these winter images. Okay, I could use maybe some other keyword, maybe cold. See what kind of options come up there, different options. And this is really where keywording is so useful. It's often the more conceptual keywords that are actually the most useful to me when I'm considering what images we can use for different features. So for example, I could do something on, if I wanted a sort of bluish cast, I put that in. And of course, it's brought up these images as well, which are the Household Cavalry, just happens to be the regiment, the Blues and Royals. So that's not really that relevant to my search. But nevertheless, up comes images with a distinctly blue feel to them. This relies, as well as plenty of pictures of bluebells, of course. So this really does rely on the quality of your keywording as to how functional Lightroom is in doing these kind of searches. Let's just take another example here. So for example, back in the summer, John Sloper wrote us a piece on internet security, which was very pertinent feature considering the cyber attack that we had on our own website. But really quite a difficult concept to illustrate photographically. So I just came to my library collection and put in the word security and saw what it came up with. These kind of pictures. Tenuous links, but still quite useful to highlight that. You may think that you're going to remember pictures, but you don't. And so I did actually use quite a few of those kind of pictures. I could put in things like safety and see what it comes up with. And up comes pictures of road signs, which again proved quite useful for that kind of feature. So also when I'm doing technical articles, I can select particular lens that I've used, for example. So say, as is going to happen, we're going to be doing a feature on tilt and shift lenses, for example. I'm going to come here and just select just click this off actually, aspect ratio, because that's still in operation, and go back to date at the top here, and it's all dates there. And so say for example I wanted to find everything I've shot with the tilt and shift lens there. Let's come back to all 26 cameras there and lenses. And now you can see the list of lenses I've got here is quite long. So I'm going to click on that one, and that brings up everything I've ever shot with my 24mm TSC tilt and shift lens. I could refine that further and ask to only the shots I've done with that camera and, sorry, that lens and this camera, and it will further refine that. And I could ally that with, for example, text and ask for only pictures taken in Africa, and keep on refining your searches this way. Such a useful function. I would recommend that you play with Lightroom, play with these kind of searches to realize the power of it. The other thing you can search with, up here you'll see at the top, if I click back on none here, I go back to my entire image collection. Can you see you can search by text, by attribute, or by metadata. So text is where you physically write in text into this bar here, and then it will search the metadata to identify that text. But you can also search by attribute. Now, I don't tend to use this. I don't know why, but I don't. So, for example, flagged, it can search only by flagged images, or whether you've rated it with stars or color rated it as well. I tend to search just using text and sometimes metadata as well. So there you go, Lightroom's search function, so useful. And if any of you needed convincing of the how important it is to caption and keyword your pictures, hopefully that will convince you. Okay, F11 members, please do send in your suggestions about what you would like to see featured in future editions of the F11 Photography magazine. See you next month.